Hi and welcome back to another video analysis with a dead ball area in rugby dump coaching. In the last video we looked at Scotland's use of simple attack patterns executed at pace and how they stressed the Welsh defence, creating a line break and ultimately a score. In part 2 we'll continue by analysing two sequences of attack in play from the Scotland-Italy game, and again we'll focus on how they built attacking momentum and the decision making process they undertook as they did this. We'll start by looking at the first try of the game, which comes from Scotland's first real attacking sequence of play. Now it actually comes from a very poor Italian exit. The ball isn't carried back, so all that homeowner has to do is hit the touchline, but instead it's a greedy kick and it goes straight to Hogg on the full. Immediately Scotland move into their counter-attacking formation, with Russell offering the infield option. Hogg, seeing the Italians a group middle of the field, attacks back down his 15-metre channel, making nearly 20 metres by the time the defensive line finds him. And what he's doing is obviously trying to make a break, but he's also pulling a defensive core towards this touchline, and we can see we have 7 Italian defenders on this channel. So straight away we know there is space to exploit somewhere else on the pitch, and this is further supported by the fact that if we scan to the other side of the pitch we can see that the far group of Scottish players are setting themselves up for 2 or 3 phases on. Hogg is dragged down and now Scotland settle into their flow attack and start to work across the pitch in punch groups. First Gray makes a fantastic carry and busts the line. So now in behind the advantage line, Scotland look to increase the tempo by continuing to move across with quick recycles, and this time WP Nel makes a strong carry, bending the defensive line and pulling defenders in, with Italy having committed 5 defenders to in and around the ruck area. Again we see Laidlaw checking if the space has opened up, and seeing it hasn't, he plays with the flow to Russell on the edge of that 15-metre channel. So in the 2 recycles, Scotland have pulled Italy all the way across the field. Just how much is illustrated by the fact that Parise, who was in the first ruck, is also in the last ruck, meaning the Italians are having to work hard around the corner just to keep defensive numbers up. And again Italy now have 5 players in that 15-metre channel, which leaves them thin coming back. So now Scotland are rewinding and flooding back quickly using 2 punch groups to carry back into the midfield. Now despite all of this, Italy have actually managed to maintain numbers throughout. So key now is that the ball is fast, which will allow Visser to step out of channel onto the second defender. And if we look, we can also see that Barkley has read this and is working to get around that corner and support, which ultimately leads to him scoring. Now Visser drifts off his defender and makes Vicentin bite in, which allows him to set Hogg free. When Hogg's finally hauled down, he has the presence of mind to offload off the ground to Barkley to score. It's a superbly taken try. Now let's go back into that sequence and look at something the Scots do at the ruck to ensure the flow of the pattern is quick enough. We'll start with Ford's carry on the 5th phase. Now watch at the ruck how Taylor and Gray, both having identified there is no direct threat, load themselves to the left of the ruck. And again at the next ruck they again load to the side they expect to flow. Now we often hear pundits and coaches talking about lengthening the ruck, and that usually means 2 things. The first is making it deep by coming past the ball, thus making defenders go further back and come around, buying valuable time. Likewise, by loading to one side like this, it also makes the defenders travel further to get back into the defensive line. It also affords Laidlaw a fraction of protection from anyone coming through on the counter ruck as he picks up and steps with the ball. It's a fine detail, but it makes an impact, and what we're seeing is a well-organised team with a genuine understanding of what they're trying to achieve in their attack patterns. They understand their roles in attack, the width needed on their attacking pattern and at ruck time, and how each task impacts on the wider pattern. Now let's shoot forward and look at the final try against Italy. Scotland are fortunate and recover the ball from a turnover. First thing is, it's again in that favoured 15-metre channel, but it's so slow that Laidlaw is patient and allows his first punch group to get set up. They do exceptionally well to get on the front foot, but it's still slow ball. However, when the ball comes out, we can see the Italian defence is very compressed, and all that space is available out wide, so Russell's call comes and they move the ball immediately. We can see Bennett holds Gorey with a hard line, and Padovani holds for Hogg on the slide. Just enough so that when Russell fires a double miss pass and hits Barkley again out wide in that 15-metre channel, he has the outside break on Padovani, and Scotland are again in behind the defensive line. Interplay between Barkley and Hogg means the Italians have to commit 6 players in and around the breakdown, which is now right on the sideline. And Italy have actually done well to slow the ball down, so Scotland now need to build speed on that ball. And this time they are just on the 5-metre line, so they don't want to crab across the pitch, often the Italian defence targets. So they're on a punch group into midfield and concede a few yards, and then we can see Laidlaw indicates he wants his ball carriers back around the short side. That means these Italian defenders have to stay in that channel and can't fold around, and when the ruck comes we can see that Italy have 7 defenders in this channel. With the defence so compressed they now want to try and generate speed, so McAnally carries infield, and when it's recycled Scotland move the ball. Now what's interesting here is Scotland don't actually have the numbers, but their attackers stress the Italian defence so much they are now thin outside the third defender, and that leaves them covering a lot of pitch against 4 excellent Scottish attackers in Russell, Taylor, Hogg and wider off-shot Seymour. So they attack the outside shoulders, which stops this defender drifting out. He's trying to tread water to maintain some width, but there's a point where he knows it's now or never and bites in on Hogg, who shows great footwork to stand him up and take him on the outside, sucking Ardetti and setting Seymour free. Again, another excellent try. It's really nice rugby from Scotland. Both patterns revolve around Laidlaw running the short game and Russell the wider game, and quick, accurate rucking by all 15 players. There's a real emphasis on generating quick ball via the ruck for their talented strike runners to exploit, and to a degree they'll sacrifice the front foot to do so. And I think it shows a real return to the trademark quick Scottish game of the 80s and 90s. As the Six Nations continues, it will be interesting to see how they adapt and tailor their attack patterns to both France and Ireland, who, like Wales, will be looking to meet them past the gain line. And will they continue to pull them left and right at a rapid pace, or will they start to run split field and zigzag patterns? Either way, I think the Scots will continue to move teams through the phases at a frenetic but controlled pace, and I think we'll see some really exciting attacking play from them in weeks to come. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter and YouTube.